Hiya, hello everyone. I just wanted to make a midweek video just discussing some new trade ideas that I'm looking at potentially to take. It's 30 today, maybe later on today or tomorrow, or most certainly next week. Yeah, so on my list today, I've got 5 different things I'm keeping an eye on. I've got three stocks, two European stocks, I've got two European stocks, an American stock, and two commodities. Right, I'd like to start off with the one I'm like to look up the most, and that is sugar. Now let me just set this up. I'll explain in a minute why I like sugar so much. Right, here we go. Right. The reason that I've got my eye on sugar is because of this here. Now this tool is called Seasonax, and this, excuse me, and this takes into account, I've set this setting to 10 years. So going back 10 years, this graph here is what, on average, what happens at certain times of the year. So as you can see here, today's the 20th of November. So it estimated around the 18th a move would happen to the downside, and it would sort of bottom out roughly around the 18th of December. So that's like a 1 month move. So yeah, on the right hand side we have, so in that time over the last 10 years, in that them 30 days, 1 month, there's been 2 months where sugar has actually gained in price and 7 losses. Why is there not 10? I'm not quite sure. But anyway, so over the next last 9 years, the odds are certainly, lopsided for losses. 7 losses, 2 gains. So as you can actually see here on these panels, you can see here the max rise during that period. So here in the month of 19 and 22, we can see here that the max rise in 22 is 5.96, which is quite a sizable move upward. That would have been upwards. And then in 22 it was really not big at all, 1.25. So that shows that in the one of the 2 years that it actually gained in price, one of them was really, it wasn't really much of a move upwards. And as you can see here, the profit, 2016 minus 10, minus 8%, minus almost 4, minus 6, minus 7, 8%. Like the last 2 years, massive moves, minus 22%, minus 11%. So I really like the look of sugar from a seasonality standpoint. Now, if we look at the charts, I was actually long sugar a few days ago. I closed the trade early due to this seasonality kicking in. It was pretty much break-even trade. I was up slightly once you factored in swaps. So anyway, if you go to the weekly chart for sugar, this is on a clear downtrend. High, lower high. It's just, there's no doubt that there's just absolutely no doubt that that's on a downtrend. Now, since that I am a trend trader, then that's what I want to be seeing. Now, this is on the daily. Now, what I'm thinking here is, let me mark this. This is the zone. Oops. Right, this is the zone that I first had my eye on. Let me just fix this here. So this is the zone. Let me just mark that out, make it a little bit clearer. There we go. let me just move this. We'll move this. I'll get back to that in a second. Right, so let me explain why I class that as the zone. We have a drop here. So we have a drop candle, and then we have these indecisive candles. Yeah, so we have indecisive candles, 3 of them. So that would class that as the base. And then what we don't want then is an explosive, ideally an explosive candle, or a handful of decisive candles. But here we have a nice explosive candle right out of the zone. So this is why I mark this out as a zone. It's a quality zone in my opinion. And the prices came back up, and it touched on Friday. It touched the zone, and then it's come back out. And then yesterday, it's just actually come back into the zone. And then look at that. So the buyers took the candle up, and then the sellers the sellers got back on top, and the price snapped back. So we got a shooting star candle there. Let me move this now. So we've got a shooting star candle, which then is we have a shooting star candle, which is a bearish candle, which sort of indicates that the price might be ready to continue downwards. So what I've actually done, this is how if I enter the trade, which I think I probably will, I'll be entering this trade. This is how I'm gonna, right, I've marked it out. What I've done is I've marked my zone, the full length of the tiny body and the long wick of the shooting star candle. So that is my new zone. And then this will be my stop loss here of $15.20, and that's 33% of the size of the full zone. So that's 1/3 of this big large zone here. So my plan now, I need to set up a sell stop. I will set a sell stop just below the shooting star candle. That's just to stop any fake outs. I'll probably put that at roughly around the $14.60 mark, roughly. And then if the price does come and hit that price point, then I'm in the trade. But one thing I just want to say, the one thing I don't like about this trade is that the COT, the commitment of traders report, is still not being released, and that report comes out every Friday, and it just shows the buyers from commercial businesses and retailers, and it just gives an idea what the smart money's doing and the dumb money's doing. And then, so that, to me, when it comes to commodities, is actually the most important fundamental for me. That's what I give more weight to. But in this instance, I just really love the seasonality so much. The information that's given us. And then when I see this shooting star candle after touching a zone, I'm thinking that this might be like a good trade to take. One thing we can also say is it's Thursday today, and the government is no longer shut down in the USA, which means that with a bit of luck, the commitment of traders report will be released tomorrow. So maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea for me to hold off and wait for that information to be released. But yeah, this is my number one trade I'm looking at right now. But we will see. It is something I really do like the look of. Now let's go to the other commodity, and that is natural gas. So same thing again. We're on the 20th today. Excuse me. I feel like I've had a cough forever. Now, there's a few different ways we can look at this. You know what? It's just, like the seasonal tool is estimating that the move downwards should start roughly around the 26th of November, which is still 6 days away. And it estimates that the sharp fall will peak before of a bounce upwards around the 6th. So we've got about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks of that move, a potential move. And in that time, over the last 10 years, this time, we've had 8 winning trades. We will have had 8 winning trades and 2 losses. And the same thing again, when you look at the 2 loss years, a little bit different. Okay, but if you look, last year there was an 11 in that time frame. Last year, if you'd have done this trade, it'd be 11% up, then 12, 24, 33, 15. So over the last 6 years, that's been nothing but winning trade. So yeah, I really like the look of that. I know it's not quite the 26th yet, but I do feel like I like to give it maybe 3-4 days either side of what that tool predicts. So from say Monday, this coming Monday, I can be looking at getting in on that trade, even if it's a little bit early. Let's get natural gas here. Now let's look at the chart. Well, with natural gas, we're predicting a move downwards. Now, this is on the weekly. We've had a lot of sideways action since a year now. And then from August this year, we've had a sharp, an absolutely sharp move to the upside. But as you can see here, I've marked this zone out. I've done that on actually the 4-hour chart. As you can see, this is how I've marked it. The wick is absolutely huge, so this is quite a large zone, but that's how I've marked it out. Yeah, so this is my zone. So what I'm estimating is that you can see this huge move here. Right, so we go. Let's go back. Like as you can see, when did that on the weekly chart, the price actually reacted like crazily in March of this year. So the price come up to this point and then wham, straight back down. So what I'm sort of hoping and thinking we might see is once the price comes back into this zone, we're going to see the same type of reaction downwards. When you pair that with seasonality, that's what I'm thinking. This might be the turning point. Now, last week we did actually enter that zone here, and it's come back out. And then this week, this is this week's candle. At the moment, that's sort of like a hanging man, although we'd have to wait until the close tomorrow, Friday, to get confirmation on what this candle actually is. But at this moment in time, that is a bearish looking candle, although that can change. So yeah, I'm sort of liking the look of this seasonality and price action. Again, the same issue with the COT reports. So we're going in blind on this trade when it comes to the COT data. But like I said, fingers crossed, we'll have that data over the weekend, tomorrow over the weekend. So I don't know, maybe I should hold off. But anyway, here's the daily chart. What I'm thinking here is that zone again. When this was Friday last week, we've got this hanging man candle. which is sort of a bearish candle, and then the price is just hovering around. So I'm thinking that maybe the buyers, maybe the move upwards is losing a bit of steam now, and it's ready to its descent downwards, but we will see. So that's my other trade. Now let's switch on to the stocks. Now I don't really, you can use seasonality when it comes to stocks, but I have looked and they're not really in our favour. And to be honest, these stocks are just on the rise non-stop, so it seems. So yeah, I'm just trying to, this is just basic trend following, textbook trading. Now this is Amazon, Microsoft. So this is the weekly chart. I like to trade off the weekly when it comes to stocks for the most part. Let's get rid of this. One thing doesn't really fill me with much. What makes me cautious is these two wicks here. That's like, that may be a double top? Is this rally? Is this running out of steam, and then it's time for the price to fall now? But from a longing sense, right, this is the zone I've actually marked out. So we've got the candle in, two indecisive candles, and then a nice, I would say, wow, that's a pretty big decisive explosive candle, and then many more candles. So that's a lot of conviction, a lot of conviction for a good move to the upside. So what I'm thinking is maybe if the price comes back into this zone, if it comes back into this zone, there's going to be lots of buy orders still left over from this move here. Now there's a few different places I would probably look to get into the trade just above this indecisive candle, which will be roughly $477, roughly, give or take. We're currently on 487, but this is pre-market right now. Pre-market, due to open in 30 minutes time. Pre-market's on 493, so which is just up here. Maybe I've missed it. Maybe this was my chance. So if the price runs upwards now, that's just the way it is. I just have to take that on the chin. It's just one of those things, but we will see. Now the other two stocks I'm looking at are European stocks, Bayer and Deutsche Bank. Let's have a look at Bayer first. Right. First things first this is what I'm cloaking as a zone just here. So we got the move down, base and candle here, and then we got this large candle to the upside. What's not great is the price is pulled back from this point, so that's not perfect. But when I look at the daily chart, I quite like it. As you can see, the price is coming to our zone, which is just about here, and then we've got like massive, three really big continuation candles. So with a bit of luck, if the price comes back into this zone, which is not quite far off, well, our zone was I've set my alert to around $26.50. We're on 27 currently. So we will see if that comes here. I think I will be longing. And when it comes to trend wise, we could say that this is a low, lower high. Sorry, a higher low just here. So yeah, you could argue that's an uptrend, but again, you've got these three peaks roughly the same size, so you could sort of say maybe that's just sideways trending. Let's quickly look at the weekly. Now what you could say is that we got low here, higher low here, and if the price does hold around this zone and go upwards, that would be our third higher low, which once I've got three pivots, that's it then. That to me is a zone, a trend, a confirmation of the trend. So yeah, that's buyer. And then Deutsche Bank. Right, so this is Deutsche Bank. This is the current zone I'm looking at. So we've got the leg in, a nice and decisive candle here, and then a decisive candle outwards. What's not great, I suppose, is this shooting star candle. Price come up, shot back down, but that's something to keep an eye on, to keep in consideration. But when we go to the daily, yeah, I'm not quite sure I like this. The daily chart, let me see. That's messy, lots of gaps, so I'm going to ignore that. So I'm going to go after weekly. You know what, actually, guys, I'm going to scrap that Deutsche Bank. So as it stands, yeah, we've covered sugar, nat gas, Microsoft, and Bayer. Now let's look at the currencies. I actually had a good trade. I closed the trade early yesterday, which was the Euro USD short. I was in nice profit, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to take my profit and bank it towards my prop challenge. You know, on my quest to getting passing and funded. So let's just look. There has been some economic news out. Just half an hour ago. So let's see what that was again. Well, we got jobless claims, unemployment rate. Okay. So yeah, the unemployment rate worse than expected. So I'm guessing that the DX has made a little bit of a pullback yet. So it has. The dollar's come back slightly. So let me see this. Right, because this is just going to be such a. Me personally, my bias is that the dollar's going to continue a run upwards. So I'm just going to trade this off the daily chart and maybe lower. So this is, to me, if it goes like I think it might, this is just going to be just very basic textbook trend following. Yeah, so sorry, mama blank then. So right, what I'm looking at now is I'm waiting for the price. As soon as it pulls back to roughly the 99.58, I'll get an alert and I'm looking to long that. So what I'm looking at is we've got the leg up, this red candle here being the indecisive candle, and then an explosive candle outwards. So what I would expect is for the price, if it pulls back, is to touch this zone and then continue its move upwards. Yeah, so, and as you may already know, when I'm looking at all of these, the euro, the pound, the Aussie dollar, these charts are all just versus the US dollar. So I'm expecting the US dollar to gain on all of these currencies. So it's sort of the same type of game. I'm just looking at, like with the euro now, if this price comes back up and touches this zone that I've actually marked out, then I'm looking to short it. And how I short it is simply the euro US dollar. So yeah, let's look at the pound. Right, I've set the zone out just here. Again, if the price comes into this zone, potential short. Let's see the Aussie dollar. I don't quite like that as much as I do really like this zone here on the Canadian dollar, but I just cannot see price reaching there now. It would break this lower high, which would possibly signal the end of that little downtrend. So yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. So for me to trade the Canadian dollar, I might actually have to come down to the 4 hour possibly and find a zone which would be, I've done it again, I'm just how I'm going to do it, potentially trade this zone. Let's see. Yeah, so maybe if the price does come back roughly to the 0.7149 on the futures chart, I'll be looking to short the Canadian dollar. Let's have a look at the yen. I've marked out quite a few zones here. This is really tumbling. I've actually set an alert just here. You get an explosive candle. I marked that zone out on the 16 hour. Let me just show you quickly. Oops. There we go. The 16 hour. So yeah, on the 16 hour chart we have this zone just here. So again, if the price comes up into that zone, I will make a decision. Australian dollar, again, a zone just here. Price comes up, same story. The Swizzy, yeah, again, a 16 hour zone on this candle. I could possibly mark this one out as a zone also. Maybe no, but I'd rather just wait for it to come back here. But we've got a number of different currencies anyway, so I don't have to take every one. I can just keep an eye out on whatever looks the best. I can always take that. So yeah, let me just quickly show you my prop challenge, how it's going so far. I've got a 100k account. I opened it like almost 4 weeks ago now. 4 weeks ago, I think, if I remember right, I've placed about 12 trades now, 10 trades. Win rates around 45-50% roughly. So yeah, it's a 100k account at this moment in time. I'm on $104,600, so not too bad, not too shabby. I've just got to try and keep my head together now, hope for a bit more luck, and hopefully I'll be able to pass a challenge for the very first time. So yeah, so if anybody has watched this video, please remember this is not financial advice. I'm not a profitable trader, so these are just my views and ideas for the end of this week and next week. Yeah, so have a nice weekend, take it easy, peace out.